He stood there, smiling, shaking my hand, like we were old friends. But the real twist: he was standing next to the executive of a company I helped save, and claiming he was the one who did it. Asterisk, he stole my work. He stole my legacy. But almost a decade later, I finally got the chance to take back everything, and he never saw it coming. If you've ever been burned by someone taking credit for your hard work, only to watch them rise while you stayed silent, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because this is the story of what happens when karma finally gets a calendar reminder. Let me take you back about 10 years to the smoking ruins of a company that almost didn't make it. The business had once had 50 employees. When I walked through the doors, there were 3 left. The rest laid off. Management gone. Asterisk, what remained was a broken shell and a desperate parent company, hoping someone could pull it back from the edge. That someone was me, and I did. Asterisk, I gave it everything. Long days, longer nights, months spent identifying what worked, scrapping what didn't. I rewrote our workflows from scratch, cut inefficiencies, implemented new technology, and turned a dying company into a thriving one. Asterisk, within 2 years, we were hitting $10 million in revenue, from the brink of bankruptcy to one of the best performers in our niche. That was no accident. That was strategy, sweat, and sacrifice. Somewhere early in that journey, I hired a guy. Let's call him Bob. Bob wasn't a star. He had a few technical skills, and he could do a few things reasonably well. But that was it. No leadership, no strategic insight, no drive. And as we grew, Bob became more of a liability than an asset. We had a performance standard, $100,000 profit per employee, funneled to our parent company. Most employees not only met that, but exceeded it. Bob struggled, asterisk, so I did what a decent leader does. I gave him notice, 2 months, to find something new. I promised him a solid review on the things he was good at. I even said I'd be flexible if he needed time off for interviews, and to his credit, he didn't coast. He stayed professional. Eventually, he found a new job at a partner company we worked with occasionally. He didn't use me as a reference, which honestly was fine. He left quietly. I moved on. Flash forward a few years. The company's doing great. I've handed it off to a new general manager, someone I personally trained. I move on to new ventures, but I keep in touch. Then, I travel out to visit the partner company. It's a goodwill trip, lunch, handshakes, light business talk. And as I walk into the meeting room, Bob is there. Asterisk, standing next to Charlie. My main contact, the executive I'd worked with for years. We shake hands. There's that awkward but polite energy. Bob gives me that fake smile small talk vibe. But then Charlie starts talking. Asterisk. And that's when the gut punch hits me. You know, he says, you are so lucky to have Bob. I mean, all the things he did. He really turned your company around. Really got you out of that mess. I blinked, felt my throat tighten. Bob really took the reins. Without him, who knows where you'd be? And then, with a small afterthought, well, I mean, of course, you helped too. I helped. As if I was the assistant in my own story. Inside, I was boiling. This wasn't some harmless misunderstanding. This was my vision. My blood, sweat, and sacrifice. Bob wasn't even involved in any of the big changes. I'd made those calls long before he was even hired. Asterisk. And now, here he was, standing on the foundation I built, selling it as his masterpiece. I wanted to call him out, right there. Wanted to expose every lie, but instead, I smiled. Well, I'm glad Bob found a good fit, and I walked away. Sometimes, dignity hurts more than confrontation. Life moved on. COVID hit. The economy tanked. The whole industry shifted, then shifted again. My old company weathered the storm. The GM I'd hired led them well. I stayed connected, more as a friend than an advisor. Bob stayed with the partner company for a surprisingly long time. I kept tabs here and there. Every now and then, I'd bump into him. Fake smiles, empty small talk. But he never brought up Charlie's comments. Never clarified. Never apologized. And I never forgot. Then, a few years after our awkward reunion, I get a call. Bob's been let go. Asterisk. The partner company finally cut him loose. Honestly, I was surprised he lasted that long. And guess where he applied next? My old company, the same one he'd once claimed to rescue. He was aiming for a prestigious leadership position, a big one, the kind of job people hold for the rest of their careers. Asterisk, but here's the kicker. The GM, who was now in charge, Ka, had never worked with Bob, so they called me. Hey, I've got Bob here. He's claiming he led all these initiatives, that he helped build our systems, created new workflows, transformed the company. Any truth to that? I didn't even have to think. No, I said. None of that was him. He had some basic technical skills, but he didn't lead a single initiative. That was me, and when we scaled, he couldn't keep up. Silence. Then the GM said, "Got it. That's all I needed to know." Bob didn't get the job. He probably never knew I was the reason. Maybe he thought the market was too competitive. Maybe he blamed someone else. But deep down, maybe, just maybe, he realized the truth. You can fake your way into a job. You can inflate your resume. You can even take credit for someone else's work for a while. But the truth always shows up eventually. And this time, it showed up with my voice. Karma doesn't wear a watch. It doesn't come when you want it, but it always shows up. Sometimes a year later, sometimes 10. Sometimes all it takes is a single phone call and the truth. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and drop a comment. Has someone ever stolen credit for your work? And did karma ever come back around? And if you love stories of real life, justice, and epic revenge, don't forget to subscribe, because around here, we believe every lie eventually gets its receipt.